The fall of Saints Row is just pretty fucking tragic. Not only is Saints Row a franchise that has no future, it's just a sad example of what mismanaging a franchise and not understanding your fans look like. Honestly, it's fucked. Like, I've loved Saints Row since the first game when I was playing it at my cousin's house in New Jersey for the first time. I loved it ever since. The franchise has always been baller to me. And even though Saints Row 4 and Get Out of Hell weren't particularly my favorites, I didn't really care for the direction that it was going because at the end of the day, it was still fun. They were doing their thing. Cool beans, right? Even though I would have liked a more grounded direction. Even Saints Row 3 had a little bit of grounded direction to it, but then then we got the reboot, and yeah, not a lot of people liked this thing, and people still played it. People went ahead and took a chance on it still, and even less people fucked with it. So yeah. Shame that even Volition, I'm pretty sure that it's Volition, was shut down, and we may never get a Saints Row or Red Faction game again. And it would just add to another like pile of forgotten games somewhere out there, right? Never to be seen again. So let's talk about how if we could turn back time and go back to the drawing board of making a new Saints Row, what would it look like, right? What would it look like in your eyes? I want to ask you guys this. If you could make a Saints Row game, in like the plot, do whatever you want, like how would you make it? I want to ask you guys this, and not to go ahead and throw what made Saints Row like what it is, throw it off the ledge and repeatedly stab it to death. Not any of that. Not what the reboot did. Not what Get Out of Hell did, kinda, but it was still kind of fun. Just something, a Saints Row that you would think would be a perfect addition to the series. I myself had an idea as to why not let us play as a new member of the Saints who does missions and earn respect from the gang and so on and so forth at the street level, like how we did in Saints Row 1 and 2, while also jumping to the boss doing more wild and crazy shit on a bigger scale on the same sort of like playing field as Saints Row 3 and 4. Honestly, it could be interesting, like do a whole GTA 5 style change protagonists and hear and see the effects of what the others does, like, when it comes to like the missions and stuff. Like, let's say this idea happens after Saints Row 3, and the boss isn't running for president yet, or not at all. Who knows? Whatever. It's just an idea. But he is making Steelport his personal city, depending on what you choose in Saints Row 3. It would be so interesting to see if we could switch maps between Steelport and Stillwater as well, depending on what's going on, like an attack from foreign gangs, cartels, or even the government who's trying to take initiative, trying to take you out. Honestly, that whole aspect could have been really interesting, right? Similar to how Saints Row 3 has it, but in a much more bigger scale, and they independently just attack you, and you will have to defend them and do your thing, and plot. Plot. Let's add this idea to potentially Saints Row 5, right? Or, Saints Row 4. Imagine if the boss who killed Zinyak takes over the whole mega ship that has its own inner city in it with various aliens and so on, living their lives in it. That itself could be really interesting, as the Saints would try to take over the ship and still have trouble fighting the gangs in this city. Not the virtual one, a real one Zinyak was looking over. However, the original cast can't focus on it directly, as other giant spaceships with their own cities are trying to take over yours in a power struggle due to Zinyak's death. Imagine if you create your own character, whether it's human, alien, whatever the fuck, right? Join the Saints and help take over the city on the ship, while when you switch to the boss, you focus on taking over the enemy ship's city and fight the gangs who have a deal with their ruler to keep you away from reaching the ship's access points to reach their emperor. If they wanted to expand like the Saints group and stuff with a secondary one, like that's fine. Though, like one that focuses on the streets and has moments of chaos level shit that the boss does, and then the boss doing crazy ass shit that 3, 4 would have, right? But sometimes he would go back to basics and go back to street level, depending on what's going on in the missions and what's going on, right? It could be really cool if they really wanted to create this whole new type of Saints Row crew or whatever, right? I don't like, I don't know why the fuck they didn't just do that in universe, right? They even had DLC where God lets you like choose to remake the universe or get Aisha back, or go with Aisha into heaven or whatever, right? Honestly, if they just had remade the first game and add in more cutscenes, more depth, and better combat and gameplay, then just go up from there, they would have been fine. Like if they remade 2 and after that we see and experience the Saints enter superstardom, and it could be it could have been really interesting if they had gone that route. I know how a lot of people have opinions have opinions on remakes and stuff like that. But I think certain games, especially like older games, like from the 2000s, right? Like especially Saints Row, the original one on Xbox, I think that one could have been really great if it wasn't just like a fucking Xbox exclusive. Because that's the only way I can really play Saints Row One is from my Xbox. And if they had just remade the first one and had like all the consoles go ahead and use it, I don't know about Switch. I don't know about Switch, but if they had put like the first one, a remake of the first one on PS5, I think that could have fucked so hard. I'm not gonna lie. Saints Row could have really been like a really baller series if they had just, I don't know, like not fucked it up. I guess. Like my initial idea is just to have it to where we have a little bit more freedom. We could go to Stillwater and Stillport depending on what character that's in the city and what's going on in the plot. I want like shifts in the tone from between Saints Row 1 and 2 and in the tone from 3 and 4, because I think for myself that I'm on the fence, right? I loved Saints Row 3. I think it's a perfect blend of like, the serious tone from 2 and like, a little bit of the goofiness from 1, right? Like cuz 1 has a lot of goofy ass shit. If you really think about it. But I personally think that 3 is a decent mix, but it's not perfect. I'm not saying it's the best one. My personal like best Saints Row game that I love is 2, and I'm more on the fence, right? Of both like sort of tones, like the wacky tone that 3 started that got way off board with 4, and like the serious, more gangbanger, like grounded tone that 1 and 2 had. I think 3 is all right, but they could have done better with the seriousness and tone and stuff. But yeah, whatever, right? But I just want, especially like if it was a remake or another game and stuff, if my idea is implemented, I at least want the tone to switch between like the stuff from 1 and 2 and the tone from 3 and 4, because they're different tones, and I think they both tones have a place in Saints Row, and that's what I really want to express. Like, how cool it would be that the OG crew is dealing with the syndicates in Steelport, while your secondary creative character and his small crew that he's building together in Stillwater is dealing with the syndicate there. I think that would be pretty interesting as well, especially like on the news or like through the gang talking or whatever. Like you hear like what the boss is doing or what your other creative character is doing, and you kind of like they kind of like hear it, but they don't really interact till like later on or like in the final mission or whatever. And it would be really cool to see that sort of aspect of seeing like the OG boss doing his thing, and recognizing that they got like another like up and comer in his gang that's similar to him. And I think that would be really fucking cool, him or her, whatever creative character you have, don't care. But I think like if they do ahead, if this idea is implemented, I'm saying a big if because it's never gonna fucking happen. The whole game is fucking kaput, gone, unless somebody buys the IP or whatever. It would be really cool to see both crews mix and switch depending on the story and stuff. That's just me. That's just what I would really like from this hypothetical game I'm creating. Is there a chance that like if somebody is doing this idea that I have that's not me or whatever, will fuck it up? That yeah, sure, because not a lot of people can really like mix tones together that well, right? And that's the real crux of the problem with a lot of games, is that they don't really blend like tone really well. I think this is especially like more in movies, right? Mainly because of the Marvel effect that they try to go ahead and cut the tension with comedy, and it kind of kills me. One game, not game, one movie that really surprised me was Transformers One. I made a review on it. It's like blocked worldwide. Like I can't do shit about it. So I'm trying to see what I can do with that maybe later on, but I was really surprised that they allowed like the tenseness to go on and how crazy it is. Transformers One is fucking baller. Go ahead and watch it if you haven't watched it. But yeah, like there's a big problem with like how the shifting of tones can really be abrupt and not really like blend well. It's I'm not getting into it. I'm not getting into it. But no, Saints Row is such a great franchise, you know, till a certain point for me, right? I would have loved to see it come back in some way, shape, or form. Oh God, like now that I say that, I feel like they're gonna turn it into like a fucking a gotcha phone game or some shit in some way. But oh God, I'll probably be so upset. But you know, this is just something I've been thinking about for a long time, ever since the reboot came out, and yeah, like I would rather prefer like a remake of the original one, or like, you know, if they have kept the direction or with better writers and stuff that they were going, with better writers and people that would like to innovate the series a little bit more here and there, or you know, whatever, right? I would love that instead of the fucking abomination they made a few years ago. Unfortunately, the future of Saints Row is up in the air. Don't know who's going to buy the IP in the future, or if it's ever going to show up in the light of day again. But yeah, like let me ask you guys this again. What would you do with the Saints Row franchise? Give me story ideas for the game, and you know, let's get creative. I love to hear your opinions and thoughts. And honestly, like, do you want Saints Row to even return? Like let me know that. Thank you so much for watching the video, and catch you guys later. This has been like, you know, me sort of dumping my ideas on Saints Row, because I recently finished Saints Row 1 again on my Xbox. And you know, it's been on my mind a lot, Saints Row, because it's still such a fun game. I have it on my Switch, my Xbox. I'm pretty sure I have it on my PS5, PS4 somewhere. It's a great franchise. But anyways, like, give me your answers in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and healthy, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Peace.